You're listening to Mike and Tricia.
They just keep me laughing in the morning, get my day started.
93.1 KISS FM.
Okay, we've all gotten used to seeing Mayor Dee Margo every afternoon, along with El Paso County Judge Ricardo Samaniego, giving us the updates on COVID-19 in El Paso, along with Dr. Hector Ocaranza. I can't forget Dr. O, rather. So we've got Mayor Margo on the line right now because yesterday we all found out that the Texas governor is going to allow the stay-at-home order statewide to expire, which means ours expires. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
Okay, so yesterday you and the judge and Dr. O, y'all kind of looked like you were going, ugh, I can't believe we have to do this.
Well, there's been some confusion out there. I've gotten some heard through social media that people don't understand that the governor supersedes us. The governor has always superseded us. Historically he would set the floor for what he wanted, and we could increase more than we wanted. Yesterday, and I'll read you from the order that he put out the day before. He said, "This executive order shall supersede any conflicting order issued by local officials in response to the COVID-19 disaster. And to the extent necessary to ensure that local officials do not impose restrictions inconsistent with this executive order." So it's pretty clear. Mm-hmm. Here's what I want, and I expect you to follow.
Yeah.
And this expires on May 15th because he's doing these 2-week windows to check it out on where we are. And that's what, before the judge and I did anything, we consulted with Dr. Ocaranza and public health officials to see, what do you say on this? And before we would try to argue with the governor about it. And
okay, so by argue with them, that means that you guys are not pleased with this.
Well, no, I'm just saying, if we felt like, here's the issue, and people don't, this is an imperfect, as I said yesterday, this is an imperfect balancing act between health and our economy. You know, we're dealing with the physical health, financial health, and mental health, which is impacted by both. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here. But we're going to have more positives. People need to understand the positives are going to grow as we test more. But the numbers and I was on the phone yesterday morning at 7 a.m. with the mayors of the large cities in Texas as we talked about what the governor had offered. We're all kind of in this together. And what UT Southwestern and Dell Medical are observing, and the data that the governor is getting through his public health officials, have to do with how many are hospitalized, how many are in ICU, and how many are on ventilators. And if you watch our numbers over the last several weeks, they haven't fluctuated big. They've gone down, they've gone back up. Yesterday we were at 35 hospitalized, 19 were in ICU, and 11 were on ventilators. And I can't remember, I left my rest of my daily stats at the City Hall yesterday, so I apologize. But I tracked that for my own edification every day. How many? And we haven't gone high or low more than 1 or 2 or 3 any day on any of those numbers. So that's why Dr. Ocaranza and Judge Samaniego and I embraced what the governor was doing, plus the fact that, as I look around, the stay-at-home orders and the shutdowns are killing our economy.
Yeah.
Right.
We are an economy of medium and small-sized businesses. And the more I looked around, the more I saw the suffering, I began to believe it's as great as the physical suffering that would be from COVID-19.
Sure. I mean, you've got a lot of people who never in their entire lives thought that they were going to be on Montana by St. Clement's Church in a line wrapped around a block,
right,
waiting for some food because they simply cannot feed their family anymore.
That's my whole point. I mean, I see the pictures. People have sent me the ones from the food banks and everything, and the city's given money to the food bank, and we'll do more if we need to. But the bottom line is we've kind of reached this point, and the 2-week window, so to speak, that the governor set up to reassess is that Dr. Ocaranza thought was a good way for us, as the governor said, and we agreed, to stick our toes in the water.
Okay, so now here's a couple of questions that we had from between Mike and I, and also a couple from listeners. So Mike was wondering, since you're going to be opening up, since we're going to be opening up things like retail, restaurants, things like that, you can open those. How come you're not also opening up libraries and pools? How can you keep those to the side and not open those up?
Yeah, because the governor said that it was okay for those to open as well.
Not public pools, no. I'm reading it right now. Those are not to be open. Let's see what he says.
But he said libraries and museums.
Libraries and museums, but no hands-on exhibits and things like that.
Yeah. So why are those going to stay closed here in El Paso?
Well, the city, our problem is our financial side and the staffing.
Oh, okay.
And once the city manager determines that we can do it, it says museums and libraries that operate up to 25% of the total listed occupancy, provided, however, if permitted by government, and excluding child areas and interactive functions, et cetera, and exhibits.
Okay.
But, it's part of the go slow. But part of our problem is, the one of the tragedies of this whole thing, we furloughed 450 people yesterday.
Right.
I mean, that's not something anybody wanted to do.
Okay, I have to ask you this question because I know our city manager makes a lot of money. So for me personally as a taxpayer, a 5% decrease in his salary, it just doesn't seem like there's even any point to that. So why was it chosen to be 5% when for maybe a few months, and I know it's just a drop in the bucket for the millions that we're going to be underwater, but for the public optics of it, wouldn't like a 10% pay cut have been something that more people would have gone, hey, congratulations, you guys did a really good cut?
Well, they came up with a number that would help us meet our budget. We're hitting somewhere just under a $30 million loss projected before end of our fiscal year, which is August the 29th. Next year, we're looking at probably $60 million hit, which we'll have to do by cutting internally. We're not raising taxes at all.
Nice.
And,
okay, good to hear.
There's no way. I mean, I wouldn't stand. Well, I didn't want the taxes raised last year, and I vetoed the budget, but I was outvoted. They came up with the overall numbers. That was staff driven. Some at council are wanting to reduce. By charter, they can't. I give my salary to charity completely and have every year since I've been mayor. And city council members can do the same thing. Okay. In fact, I would invite them to join me. But they have, everybody has different levels. But the point was we were making the cuts. The staff drove those, and where we are, and the furloughed employees are those who can't right now work and do their job under this COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, if the facilities are closed, then they couldn't do their work anyway.
That's the problem, and so I'm hopeful if we behave, and I don't know how else to say that from almost a parental standpoint. We've got to wear face coverings. Mm-hmm. No, they're not mandated anymore. The governor did not mandate it, but we need to wear face coverings. That protects others from each of us. Mm-hmm. It is mandated for all the employees of the open businesses and the essential businesses, and these new ones that can open at up to 25% capacity.
Okay, I got that, but if you cannot punish anybody because the governor says you can't, mm-hmm. then how are you going to make sure that these employees of these businesses do wear face covering? Well,
that's different. The employees must wear face covering. That is a mandate, and that is an employer-employee issue. The customer issue is where you've got the problem. If somebody walks in and says, not no, but heck no, I'm not going to wear a mask. My understanding is that certain businesses, primarily the restaurants, will be able to say, I'm sorry, I won't serve you.
Yeah, I'm sure that's just like no shoes, no shirt, no service kind of thing.
Right.
But how are you going to make sure that the employees of these businesses wear face coverings if you cannot fine or cite any of the businesses for not making their employees wear face coverings?
No, we can. Though.
You can?
We can. And the governor has made the promise that if you don't comply, we can remove your operational certificate.
Oh, okay. So it is.
Plus there's fines and everything else. No. That the only thing we can't control is the public at large.
Oh, okay. So if you're a licensed business, you have to do that.
Yeah,
A licensed business must comply.
So people can still call 311 about businesses not complying with the face coverings of their employees.
Right. And what I was saying yesterday, and it came off rather harsh, but I'm dead serious. If we don't do this right, if we have the spikes in the hospitalizations and the ventilators and the ICUs, then we're going to be going backwards, and we'll go back to stay at home.
Right.
Yeah, people are not going to like that at all.
Yeah, no.
And
I think people are antsy. I mean, I know people are antsy.
Yeah.
Well, especially since the weather is really nice.
Sure.
You want to go and you want to hang out at each other's backyards, and you want to do all the stuff that we always do.
Yeah. The real test is going to be in the next couple of weeks when you have Cinco de Mayo and Mother's Day rolling up on us.
Right. And, I think we dodged a bullet on Easter. We were concerned about a spike after Easter, and I think it's been 2 weeks, so we haven't really seen that per se. And I have a 4:00 call every afternoon. I call it my war room call with Dr. Ocaranza and Mario D'Agostino and senior leadership to talk about where we are and what's needed, so I get my updates every day at 4:00.
Yeah. So Easter didn't really affect us, but we had a lot of mandates in place at the time.
Right.
Now we don't.
With everything falling off the wayside, that's going to be a true test.
But the biggest thing you all can do is to convince your listeners wear face coverings.
Yeah.
We had a couple of issues where last week, I think at Walmart's, 2 individuals at 2 different Walmarts, after we issued the mandate, which I had mixed feelings. I wanted to encourage, and others, the judge, wanted to mandate. And then we made the decision collectively that if we mandate, maybe we'll get 9 out of 10. I mean, because we all know that the enforcement level would be real tough. Mm-hmm. But we had a couple show up at different, I think they were Walmarts in different parts, and 2 individual gentlemen at each one refused to wear one going in. And they ultimately, even after the managers talked to them and the guards on duty, et cetera, they let him in. So you've got to convince your listeners it's for our collective. It's in our collective best interest. This isn't an individual macho deal. This is our collective. If we screw it up, we're dead.
Yeah,
we're going backwards. And what we want to see is in 2 weeks, when he reassesses on the 14th of May, that he says maybe we go to 50% on restaurants.
Right.
And we go, we open this others, and we do certain things. And that's what we've got to get to, and your listeners need to understand that.
Okay, a couple of real quick questions. A bunch of school districts announced that they're going ahead with tentative graduation ceremony plans. How do you feel about that? And also, we had a listener question, will the bridge crossing restrictions be lifted?
That's the bridge. Let me answer the last one. The bridge crossing restrictions are based on federal law. That's federal mandates. That's not us.
Okay.
So we can't do anything about that. In fact, I was talking to the Hector Mancha, the border sector chief for the bridges yesterday, on where we are. But on the graduations, I've seen a couple of them plans, and they're meeting with staff and everything. The way I'm seeing them do it, I think, is appropriate. The one I saw said that the grads and the families would wait in the car, and then they would be called in one by one, and they would go through separation and then be given their diploma, and everything was at 6-foot intervals and distancing, and it looked like they'd drawn a map of how to do it through the gyms and various things.
How about that?
Okay, well, you have more info than we do. So which district is that?
Well, I think several of them are doing, but I think the plans I saw were Canutillo.
Okay.
And they're going to the city saying, "Can we do this?" And meeting with I think those kind of things ought to be done.
Yeah,
it's
but
a killer.
Aren't they all at Don Haskins though? I mean,
There
that's
are
going to be
some
hard
at
to
Don
No. These are all. the way I read that was at one of their gyms.
Yeah, at Cañutillo, it's going to be district in the district.
Yeah,
but
they're going to be doing it.
EPISD is going to be doing them at the Don.
Wow.
Well, whatever they're doing, the way they were structuring it, it appeared to me on paper as I saw it that it would be the best that you could do given the restrictions that are required for social distancing.
Wow, if you thought graduation ceremonies were already long, oh my God.
Yeah.
It'll be a while.
I know. I did them when I was doing the Board of Managers at EPISD. I went to all the high school graduations.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, you're after shaking hands for all those, it was like the carpal tunnel.
Yeah. You should have faked a knee injury like Cabrera. Then you could have sat down the whole time. Or not showed up at all, Mayor.
That's right.
Okay, man. Well, look, we appreciate you coming on with us. We appreciate the info. We'll keep in touch because I'm sure we'll have more questions as we go forward on this.
All right. Well, let me know if they are, and I appreciate you all doing what you're doing and alerting the public at large how important this is and how critical it is for our community and our economy to do this right.
All
Thanks,
right, man.
Mayor. We
Go get some
appreciate it.
rest.
You bet. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
It's Mike and Tricia Mornings on 93.1 KISS FM.